If you came here for the title, this video will not disappoint. However, there is a bit of a runway up to validating it. The technology, there's a Canadian writer named Marshall McLuhan. I think he might have been an architect, but he wrote books about now and the future. And his famous phrase is, "The medium is the message." And what that means is it's not what's on television that's the message. It's the fact that we have television is the message. And now, 30, 40 years later, we have what I'm doing, which is a cell phone in the car broadcasting to the entire world. So the message is it's now possible to do this. And you even see celebrities driving around with other famous celebrities in their cars doing video blogs. Now, it seems like most of the people who are still making strong videos are Christians, and they use what they interpret out of the Bible as what will be the history. And there are two big words that everyone knows. One of them is Armageddon, which will be a large battle fought in the Middle East, probably over oil. It doesn't matter who's there, it'll happen. And the other one is the apocalypse, which in general parlance seems to mean the four horsemen of the apocalypse are going to come and destroy the place. But apocalypse actually means the revelation of knowledge, which is happening now because of this medium of cell phones and internet. As civilization goes along, there's suppression, and then someone comes up with a method to get around the suppression. For example, they had kings, and then elected governments were created to go around the power of kings. And then because elected governments became oppressive, lawyers were able to do runs around the laws created by the parliaments. And that's where we are now, which is parliaments are involved in corruption. And hopefully this medium of being able to go around their control of the communications medium will allow us to do an end run around that suppression. Meanwhile, spiritual people have been working on clearing up the clouds of evil. And a lot of them are the Buddhists. And what I think has just happened is the Scientologists have a technology where they clear up your present time, lifetime, and past lifetime spiritual peccadillos, mistakes, and free you up to be a happier person. And that's called your case. Everyone has an individual case. There's also a planetary case, which is the sum total of all of those cases. in, around, and of mankind. Now, hopefully, someone has been auditing the planetary case, and a way to make it visual would be when the tide goes out, you can see all the sharp objects which are under the ocean, on the beach, old pylons and sunken trees, sharp rocks, twisted bits of metal. And I think the slow erosion of the black cloud of hidden evil has gotten to the point where you can see the sharp objects sticking out. And my case in point here is Elon Musk and Jack Bezos have stated that they want to send people to other planets as a backup should we destroy the Earth, which, by the way, is completely unnecessary. Okay. All those billions could maybe be better spent feeding people in the third world, or at least arranging for the third world to have better business practices so people aren't starving to death living on dirt floors. Well, over here we have internet, pizza, beer, heat, light, self-driving cars. You take an airplane flight anywhere and everyone's well fed. So where this desire comes from is in the history of the local sector of the galaxy. They had the same problem we have here, which is overpopulation, which here is actually a lie. We could probably support 250 billion people here if it was managed correctly. And not cruelly, I mean correctly. So this incident from the past where half of the population of, let's say, 70 planets were scooped up and brought here in either physical and or spiritual form and dumped off as a solution is in the memory of everyone that had that happen to them. And it's my belief that these two gentlemen are merely dramatizing this event. And they need Scientology auditing. It's called Level Operating Spiritual Person 3, OT3. And it was the big secret of Scientology for a long time. You weren't supposed to talk about it. A lot of whistleblowers put it, it's everywhere on the net now, so they can't keep it private. So I think this is, in the case of these gentlemen, their case is poking out of the gloom, and other similar things where the solution to problems, let's kill everybody and then let's turn the survivors into robots and send them off into space to be well rid of, and they can probably mine for us and make us even more money. Now behind that is beings who are using the place for many reasons. The races of mankind are individual experiments, and they're color-coded so people can see who they belong to. They're looking for which one will come out on top, and the product that is wanted is a disposable organic being, intelligent, disposable organic, or the term they use is biological. So an intelligent, disposable biological, that's you. Worse than that, it's already being done. The reason behind the abductions is looking for the right DNA, and then they're taking eggs out of the women and sperm out of the men, and they're making test tube babies and selling them throughout the galaxy as a product. So there's no need to send humans from planet Earth to Mars and Titan in case we destroy the place here, because there are human beings all over the place in a slave capacity. If you want to know a little bit more about this on the internet, you can look up firefight at Dulce Air Base. D-U-L-S-E. Looks like Dulce. There was a battle between the reptilians and the U.S. Air Force underground over them when they found out what they were doing. And that's very deep in the conspiracy arena, probably 2011 that came out. That can't be true. So this is good news in a way, because it means real aberrations implanted into human beings to keep us helpless are being revealed. Most of the evil craziness was also attached to the spiritual beings during this incident to keep the police in a melee of evil and war, so we would never lift our heads up and look at what's going on. Not deeper, but sideways. People say the reptilians can just walk out of a wall, walk through walls. Interesting. They say they're coming from another dimension, which is not true, actually. A dimension is not some other place. All the dimensions interpenetrate and are all at one point at the same time. Everywhere is the center. That's a phrase that's been thrown around for 2,000 years. So, if you believe something is solid, it is to you because you believe it. Because the world is an illusion, as the yogis would tell us. The main reason the Jews get attacked is one line in all of their literature. The religious literature says, oh, and by the way, the universe is just an illusion. Those above don't want us to think about that. So if the 3D world, in quotation marks, that we live in is an illusion, we're like cattle with a fence around it. And that's their world. And they might not notice the farmer who comes and drops off bales of hay and water, or not think too much about it. The reason we can't see the others, whatever they may be, pick whatever you like, is the frequencies that we use to see were deliberately cut down to one little band that makes us useful, that we can deal with the 3D universe. On one of the lakes in Africa, how they catch fish is they take what would look like picket fence stakes and tie them in a long chain and they row them across the lake. And because the sun is directly overhead, the shadow looks like a bar in the water. So the fishermen bring their boats along, and the fish see black bars coming at them. So they're able to herd the fish up onto the beach. And the women grab them by the tail and throw them up on the beach. I think our situation is similar-ish. Also, there is junk DNA is not junk DNA. It's DNA that can be used in other environments by the human platform. And one of the things we have is a second optical nerve, which is able to see some other frequencies. And the reptilians have a device on their belt which can put out a lot of this light. And for us, it would be like if you look at the sun, you can't see anything. And, the Japanese zeros came at us out of the sun. We couldn't see them because the light was overwhelming. So the light from their belt device overwhelms that optic nerve. You won't see the light, but it will also flood over into the regular optic nerve and overwhelm that a bit. And you won't see that thing over there. That's how they do it. And that's one of the things that was revealed at Firefight at Dulce Air Force Base, that they had this thing. So we'll wait for further developments. This all the craziness is results of craziness stuck onto spirits who are here doing return and recurrence, birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, dramatizing what was done to them, which is, atomic war, torture, child molestation, evil. It's completely unnecessary. It's not real. And again, we've reached the point where we have discovered DNA, which is monitored by beings that have an IQ of 2,500, and their bosses have an IQ of 1.2 million. So they're the ones who invented DNA. As a medium for spiritual beings to play a game in the 3D universe. Well, this is the path I tread, and if you listen to other people speaking of this, you might discover this is not just one person's viewpoint. It is the research direction into what's going on. I saw a science fiction movie made by Christians, and it was fantastic, because to the Christians, the demons are real, so they didn't have to think something up. Looks like we are being micromanaged by beings that we cannot see. And they're not micromanaging us for our benefit. They gave us civilization, writing, mathematics, astronomy, agriculture, agronomy, all kinds of things. But that was just to make the farm better. There, look at the population now, which is 7.5, 8 billion, compared to a few million 2,000 years ago. So this goes into the category of don't do us any favors. So I don't know what the answer is. I asked, who are the enemies of mankind and how can I kill them? And the answer was, it's not your job. So whomever has that job, would you please get on with it? The local push for 2030 is based on astrotheology, which you should look up. And Jordan Maxwell is the resident genius of astrotheology. After you listen to his videos, you'll be completely trained up. As gravity affects us, and day and night, and breathing in and out, and the solar system, the year, and astrology, the turning of the stars near us, is purported to have an effect on human behavior. The large cycle of around 25,000 years is everything in the universe to our round eyeball perception rotates. The earth rotates, the sun rotates, the solar system rotates, the galaxy rotates. The 2,500 year long cycle is one breath for that being, based on everything is alive. So 12,500 years in, 12,500 years out. The inhalation brings in good things, and the exhalation gets rid of poisons, as our breathing does, and plants, everything is based on the same pattern, as above, so below. We're just coming out of 12,500 years of the exhalation cycle, and the age of Aquarius is 12,500 years, which is supposed to be a golden age. And the dramatizing suppressive psychotics, which is what I call them, this is the actual medical term, want to seal up this one world government, AI controlled, transhuman, nanobotted, and patented robots world for the next 12,500 years, which is why they're going hammer and tongs at it, and the peaceniks are trying to make the public aware of it. So it could be stopped because it's being done by people. There's a little pink body and it could be jailed. And behind that are other beings which are apparently hungry for our negative emotions. That's what they live on. So of course they're against peace and love and cooperation. So, I leave this with you, and conspiracy check out.